All right, Republican members of the Senate Small Business Committee, led by Kentucky Senator Rand Paul, are calling for an investigation into the unlawful participation of Planned Parenthood's affiliates in the Paycheck Protection Program. That was a part of the response to the coronavirus and the government shutdown. In May of 2020, the U.S. Small Business Administration notified a number of Planned Parenthood affiliates that they had wrongfully applied for 38 of these Paycheck Protection loans, totaling more than $80 million. Now, the Small Business Administration determined that these local affiliates were ineligible for the loans under the applicable affiliation rules, and that the loans they received should be returned. Well, according to an update just last month, most of those Planned Parenthood affiliates had not returned their money, the money they got from the government. And not only that, at least one more affiliate was approved for a second PPP loan. Well, leading the call for this investigation, Senator Rand Paul, as I mentioned, he joins us now. Senator Paul, welcome to the program.
Great to be with you, Tony.
All right. You are pressing this issue. This was illegally acquired money according to the guidelines of SBA.
Yeah, we have some pretty strong evidence. When the program was set up, it was this program for small businesses that were being shut down because of the pandemic to keep them from going out of business. But they specifically excluded big businesses. And so Planned Parenthood is a big abortion business, and they have, dozens and dozens and dozens of affiliates across the U.S., but the affiliates work underneath Planned Parenthood. They work underneath the board. They get directions from the board. So the ruling has always been that they're not individual. They are part of this big group called Planned Parenthood. So the Trump administration saw this, saw that they had applied, got money, and the Trump administration concluded that they had gotten the money illegally, that it wasn't for big business like Planned Parenthood. It was for small businesses, and that their affiliates didn't count. So they made a ruling. This is a long-standing ruling on what affiliates are and who controls them. And so the Trump administration said, send the money back. A few of the Planned Parenthoods did send some money back, but most of them kept the money. And then we get to the Biden administration. So when they came before the Small Business Committee that I'm the ranking Republican on, we asked them, we said, look, we've looked at the data now, and we've actually seen that you're giving second loans to Planned Parenthood after you already told them it was illegal. It says, why aren't you pursuing getting all of the money back? And why in the world would you be giving second loans to entities that you said were getting it illegally? They sort of profess not to understand it. And when you ask them, because they had bragged in their testimony that they had a surveillance program on illegal loans, it's like, well, why aren't you doing something about this? And then I asked him directly, the small business administrator, I said, have you changed the policy? Have you changed the Trump policy? And are affiliates now able to get, this PPP money? He says, no, we haven't changed the policy. So we have a conflict here. The policy and the law says Planned Parenthood shouldn't get it, and yet they still get it and are getting more loans. So we immediately then sent a letter to the Department of Justice, to the Inspector General for the Small Business Administration, and to the Small Business Administration. There's not a lot of belief that we're going to get much action because these are run by Biden people. Merrick Garland is an appointee of Biden at DOJ. We don't think they'll do anything to Planned Parenthood. But the Inspector General, we have a chance. The Inspector Generals, if there's anything that's really pretty close to independent in the federal government that is an independent watchdog, it's the Inspector General. So we are going to keep pushing it on all fronts, but we think there's a chance the Inspector General will pursue this. They are pursuing a similar investigation of nonprofits. They won't tell us whether they're specifically looking at Planned Parenthood, but from my perch as the ranking Republican, I am able to push this issue.
Well, as you mentioned, they're not a small operation, over 16,000 employees, pretty big operation to be trying to cash in on small business loans. Now, this issue came up in the last relief bill, the coronavirus COVID-19 relief bill. You worked behind the scenes to try and successfully, I should say, kept the rules from being changed. The House wanted to change it so the money could go to Planned Parenthood. You worked in the Senate through the parliamentarian to ensure that that would not happen. So the law is still on your side.
And this is another indication that they believe themselves to have been breaking the law. So what they tried to do, it's complicated. We have something called budget reconciliation, and this is where 50% of the senators can pass things. It's a special type of legislative procedure just for the budget. But they pass all kinds of other things through the budget this time. And then the parliamentarian, who's not a senator or elected anything, she gets to decide what is allowable under the budget bill and what is not allowable. And they tried to change this rule on affiliations so Planned Parenthood could get money. And that we argued the point behind the scenes with the parliamentarian, and we won, and they didn't get to change the law. But the fact that they were trying to change the law indicates they understand that what they are doing by giving money to Planned Parenthood is illegal. But as you know, Planned Parenthood dictates the politics of the left and dictates the politics of the Democrat Party. And I think that they're going to keep giving them money, even though it is overtly against the law. But they also know now that I'm going to be dogged in pursuing this, and we're not going to let go. And even if they don't rule in our favor, we will keep publicizing this and hounding them until we get the real information. If they're breaking the law, we want them to stop.
Well, one thing I think they know about you is that you're tenacious and you won't let this go. And we look forward to hearing from you when you hear back from the Inspector General as to what they might do. Senator Rand Paul, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Tony.